that there are several efforts right now in Ohio, Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati, who are all going after the Republican National Convention. Obviously, we're excited about the opportunity to bring a convention here to Ohio. It would be a wonderful thing, the first time since 1936 that we've had one here, given the fact that we're always the epicenter of the political universe. I thought it was an excellent opportunity to get this group together and discuss kind of the status of things and what's going on. Joanne Davidson is here and can give us an update on some of those things, as well as a couple of other matters that have come before our national committee. And so, Speaker Davis, if you'd like to come up, or I can hand you the microphone, whatever makes whatever's better for you.
Sorry that Bob Bennett is not here to join us for this report, because Bob and the chairman and I have been kind of involved with the 3 communities that submitted bids. Very unusual, I think, to say that one state submitted 3 proposals to host the Republican, and I think at least 2 of them I'm aware of, and perhaps a third are also going to extend the same bid for the Democratic convention. They want to show off Ohio, and they want to point out, particularly on both sides of the political fence, that it's really important to have a convention in Ohio, that we are one of the truly, as you know, important states in presidential elections. So it's been fun to work with them, and they submitted. I know Alex has been very involved and has been attending some of those presentations. Our chairman from Franklin County will be involved with Columbus when they make their presentation next week. And Rob Frost, our chairman of Cuyahoga County, is very involved too. So it's exciting to know that we have the opportunity to do that. I happen to sit on the commission on convention planning that was created in Tampa at our last convention to actually make some recommendations on a convention, particularly those things that deal with transportation. Those of you that were there will know what I'm talking about, as well as delegate experience. And we have not made our final recommendations yet. We meet again in the first part of May in Memphis, Tennessee, for the spring meeting of the Republican National Committee, and we'll make our final recommendations there. This ties in with another issue that I want to talk a little bit about our RNC meeting, if I can, Mr. Chairman. And that's the fact that they probably, those recommendations will probably include a recommendation that we have our convention earlier than typically. We usually have it, as you know, that last week in August or sometime in late August after the Summer Olympics. And the recommendation, which is coming from our national chairman, Reince Priebus, and the commission, I believe, will support that recommendation, is that we try to go earlier. You'll remember the last time the Romney campaign, they had a dry period in which they could not spend the money that they had raised for the general election because the rules say you can't spend that money until you're actually the official nominee. So other people had to step in and try to cover those summer months to keep Romney, obviously the Romney ticket, in front of the public. So going early will make it much easier for us to be able to do that. Hopefully it will also consolidate down a little bit of that campaign count. I don't know how many debates that we had in 2012. They were not helpful to us. They did not benefit our candidates. It took them off the campaign trail. And so that some of the other things that are happening will help hopefully just squash that together a little bit and get us on our way with our candidate for the fall election much earlier. To be able to do that, Bob Bennett is a member of the Rules Committee from Ohio, so the Rules Committee has also been meeting, and they recommended some changes at our meeting last month in Washington, D.C. Those rule changes really deal with the fact of how do we move a convention earlier. So when do you have to certify your delegates in each state? And the other thing that the National Committee is attempting to do, frankly, is to not have all of these states jump out and do early primaries. So to try to shorten that primary situation, the rules were changed to even penalize more a state that does their primary prior to March the 15th. Those amendments were passed to the rules. I brought copies for any of you that are rule, people would like to look at those and compare them to what you can find online at the RNC rules. But every one of those are intended quite frankly, to help us to even have that convention earlier, to shorten the primary period, and there will be a very significant penalty for those states that jump out ahead. As we know, there are 4 states that historically have been permitted to do that. They'll still be permitted to do that, but if any other state jumps in that situation, then they will have a penalty of actually losing a significant portion of their delegate assignments that are qualified to go to the convention. So those were the 2 major things that we really talked about. Bob does a good job representing Ohio on the Rules Committee, and kind of, I think, was very instrumental in getting those changes through. As far as the Convention Commission, will complete our job in Memphis, Tennessee, so you'll see a little earlier convention. And I think all 3 of us, certainly Chairman Borges and Bob Bennett and I are doing everything we can for any one of the communities. And the governor has a letter which was attached to those filings, which committed from Jobs Ohio, not Ohio tax money, but from Jobs Ohio, up to a $10 million commitment for actually marketing the convention and marketing Ohio as part of the proposal to any one of these cities, actually, who could get chosen. So keep your fingers crossed. They will decide by mid-March which cities they're going to visit. That's the important first step. We hope all 3 cities will be included in that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.